All right, welcome everyone. This is the Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is November the 4th, 2017. This is a Saturday morning webinar. And the title of today's webinar is Trade Like a Professional with Our Tools. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, let me show you a chart here real quick, and going to be some questions for the team here and also for new people that are in the room here. Let me ask you a quick question. On the right side of the chart, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, you've got higher lows, higher highs and everything. So isn't that obviously an uptrend so far? But if you were trading it, what would you be looking at if you did decide that it was time to go short, to give an example? Because what you got to do is you got to draw on your charts, okay? You've got to make sure that you know right where that next swing is. And keep in mind, when we look at identified swings, and again, this is one of the most important things you'll learn is identified swings, okay? Because when you get a thrust and a pullback, you don't know this is your pullback at all right here until it takes out that swing. Now that's the bigger lightning. And of course, it's the same thing here. See the little thrust, little retrace? You don't know that's your retrace yet. It could go lower, but not lower than this, and then still take out this swing, and that would be an identified swing. Everybody see that? Same thing here. You have a low, you have a high. You don't know that's your lower, your higher low than down here until it takes out that swing. Okay? So in other words, when this came back, see how this came back within a tick or so of this? This was your identified swing, so this was still an uptrend, wasn't it? Okay? And you're going to see that on your charts continually. So I'm going to show you, try to show you how to really see this in real time. And with our tools, we give you some extra flavor to that because, we've got backgrounds that change. We've got bar colors that change. We've got mid bands that change, and those will keep you a little bit more on the right side of the trade. Okay. And because it's easy to get, lost in the fray, so to speak. You jump in way up here and then they retrace on you, right? But what you want to do if you're in an uptrend, you want to wait for them to come, well, for instance, like right back into here, this area right here, if they were to come back. Okay. So with all of that in mind, let's go to the chart and let's advance it just a little bit at a time. Now we've got a little swing trying to form. And by the way, this number wouldn't show up yet because it has to actually have some more bars, but just for the sake of it, there's more bars on the right-hand side. But anyway, you still know, though, that you had a swing right here, right? Let me make that a little lighter so you can see it. Okay, you have a swing here. So now, if this breaks, isn't that your new identified swing? But instead of being an identified swing to the upside, it's an identified swing to the downside, right? Now, we don't know if this is going to head down yet because on the left side of the chart, we're still heading up, okay? But always look at these a priori swings. The a priori just means that these things show up in advance. Can you show your Viper chart for ES and show some trades? Yes, Havad, we were going to do that this morning. Well, actually, wasn't it like only in an 8-tick range, Charles said? We'll look at it, though. Bear with me a few minutes and we'll get to that. Okay. Does everybody see, though, that, if you were looking at your charts and this was doing this, you're getting a lower high as soon as it takes out that swing, right? So at that point, is this now a downtrend on the right-hand side? And the answer would be yes, right? What you'd be looking for would be a retracement into this area, resistance wise, and possibly a rollover. Everybody see that? Okay. Now, when you're trading, you've got to understand that basically you're going to want to stay with the proper trend. Okay. The proper trend is going to make you the most money, and the identified lightning is going to tell you, when these things start to change. Okay. Now let's look at the actual chart and see if our backgrounds and everything didn't confirm this. And I picked purposely a little bit of a little bit more choppy, for instance, sideways right here. This was after the bell on Thursday, I think it was right here. Okay. So when you draw on your charts and you see that line right here, let me get a navy blue one on here. Navy blue doesn't work too well on black, but it works good on these charts. I'll go ahead and make it a little bit larger too. Okay. Now, you've got resistance right here. See, you had a thrust down, you had a retrace, you had a big thrust down. They haven't taken out what I call your medium trend, but they did take it out up here. Everybody see that? So wouldn't this be a trade? Wouldn't we be possibly even looking for like maybe even a phantom trade? But we don't know if this thing's going to just go ahead and blow back up, because on the left-hand side, you do have a low, a high, higher low, higher high, higher low than over here, just barely, 2 ticks, okay? But this is also a first time into phantom after a trend change. Now, does everybody know what I mean by first time into phantom after a trend change? Because phantom is actually these shadowed areas right here. Let me draw a little box around it. This is a shadowed area right here, and this is the other shadowed area right up here. Now, you use the green one for the short, and you use the magenta one for the long. Okay, so in other words, way back here, you had a trend change. Okay, notice that you went from long type to short, not very much actually, but it did some, and then it went back to long. Okay, so first time into phantom is actually a pretty good trade. There's your phantom trade right there. See it? First time into phantom after a trend change. Okay, if they ratchet up, which it definitely did, then you look for another one. Keeping in mind, it's not quite. Now also keep in mind, we trade mid-bands and all that, but I'm trying to show you right now what a phantom trade will do first time in after a trend change. All right, here's your second one right here, isn't it? Came right down to phantom, bounced. Okay, those are really, really good trades to watch for. Okay, so in that same instance, we walk into our trading room and we're looking at this. Is this actually a phantom trade? And the answer is yes, right? Well, you know it now because it's already broken this little box. Now, keep in mind that when you break a box like this, let's say, for instance, that this had just decided to just start shooting up. Maybe they come down here and test it and bounce. Well, you got to watch it when it gets down there, okay, because that is support right there, okay? But if you were going to take this little box, you would actually fire your trade on that bar right there and then don't let it go back in the box. Okay, if they go back in the box, you're not really interested in that trade. Everybody see that? Because remember, we talked about this time and time again this week. Did you notice how our trades really follow through really well when we draw on our charts? Well, if you draw on your charts correctly, you'll definitely get some of the better trades, because you're not going to have to go, well, I think this is going to go up here, so I'm going to put a 20 tick stop on it. Well, keep in mind, if you put a 10 or a 20 or whatever, you've got to be looking at doubling that on your trade. In other words, you shouldn't be willing to lose more than, the one amount versus doubling it on the target. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Don't let it go back in the box. Because to give an example, what if this would have hit its head right here and then popped right back up? Let's just say, for instance, we don't know if it's going to yet, but if it let's say this is just a little wick right now and it decides to pop back up here. Well, wouldn't we be pretty cautious that that's support and they might go ahead and start heading up? Now, usually I look to the left to trade the right, not so much further over, but immediate left. Okay. And this to me is support right here because it bipped up through it. It should come and kiss it and take off if it's going to head up, but that is a phantom trade. Okay. And just for the fun of it, we'll go ahead and see if we can. We're a little late, but I think I'll go ahead and take that trade. All right. If it even comes back close to my little bar or closes down, I'll go ahead and grab it. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. See how it's still fresh out of the box. Now I'm not going to let it go back in the box. Okay. And I'll put an exit on close just in case, because it could wick it. Keep in mind, it could definitely wick it. Okay. But let's see if it rolls on over. Now this is a case right here of see where it's actually trying to fake you a little bit. That may take us out. That's okay. Let's see if it does or doesn't. Now, normally when it closes back in the box, you want to just go ahead and get out of the trade fairly quickly. But see, we're not risking a whole lot. Okay. Notice how my exit on close is still keeping me in that trade so far. And it took me out. Okay. Now I'm going to try it again if this bar closes outside that box. But keep in mind now that it wicked you in, all you have to do is like this. And let's go ahead and do a region on it because I want to show you some of the tools today. All right, let's do a region. We'll do a region. Matter of fact, let's just do it. If it does decide to break up, it could come all the way up to here. If it breaks down, it could come all the way down to here. Yeah, the bars are blue too, but keep in mind, Bill, on your question, we purposely built these bars to where on deep retracements, they do turn blue, but this is still a downtrend. Okay. If you look, for instance, at your phantom here, see this phantom here? It was up in here and it started stair stepping down and now it's sideways. So it could go either direction, but that's also why we box it in. Notice how I only risked $60 on that. Now, granted, if you did that 5 times, you're down $300. Okay. But this is a phantom trade. So we're going to actually trust it, see what it does. Now, keep in mind that when I boxed it to begin with, which was right up here, you wouldn't have actually closed back inside that box actually with the close of the bar. I don't think you might have. And if you did, you still lost that. Okay. But let's try it and see what it's going to give us. We'll go ahead and try again and just see. Now this is also, it is taking out resistance here, but see, that's not an identified swing. See there? You got a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high, but that's not your identified swing yet. This may become your identified swing. This is your identified swing. Everybody see that? So if they don't take this out, then we're not really heading back up yet, unless we get a thrust, a retrace, and then take out the swing, which we haven't done yet. Okay. Now, by the way, with that green stealth, you could have easily gotten a quick long trade too. I like this particular trade here, even against backgrounds, if you want to try it and just put a tight stop on it, because when stealth changes, this could actually change the other way. Okay. Now, this is a box trade right here. There you go. You just got in. Okay. Now, normally, if it comes out of the box like this, you can go ahead and put your stop just above the next bar back. Because if it is going to break down, it should keep breaking down. You might be willing to risk like 6 ticks instead of if it just closes right back in the box. Okay. Let's see if that works out. We're down $90. Let's see. How did you enable region? Insert, there's well, the hotkey is insert. Steve, on your question, you just simply click the insert button and the insert button will pull up that box. We no longer have to hit enter where we used to years ago. Okay, so we don't have to do that anymore. Okay, I want to show you another trade that I like too that will keep you from getting, we were down $60 and now we're still down 30. But there's another trade on here that I like real well too, and it's called stealth. And we'll see if we can get us a little stealth trade. And if it turns red on stealth, we'll go ahead and get it. Let's see if we get something. It is breaking support, by the way. Let's see if we can get a little stealth trade. Stealth is actually this line right here. See, it's green when it's basically up and it's red when it's down. And it's got some little gaps in it also. You know, when price comes back into stealth, it gaps it, which we've designed into Object Trader to actually be a way to take the trade like first stealth, second stealth, third stealth, you know, like that. We could even turn on stealth this way just in case. We don't know if this is going to pop up yet, but let's see if we get a little stealth. Now notice my box worked that time, and I took it off just so I could show you another trade, a tool that we have. But we'll go ahead and just see if we can get red stealth. Now keep in mind, stealth is going to be a little bit more conservative trade, and you're not going to be able to just put your stop so tight. Okay, there's your stealth just kicked in. See, it doesn't even show up yet, but our algorithms caught it. Okay, and it'll show up on this bar. You'll see a red stealth show up, right? See it right there? That's your stealth. Okay. And I go ahead and usually move a target. Now notice we're up a little bit now. We're trying to get right down to here. I'd probably put, well, we already took it. That's okay. And look to the left always to trade the right. I'd go down to that level right there. See if I could take some more coin. See the swing? And then I'd go, just let the other one run. Okay? Now stealth, like I say, is a pretty good little powerful tool that you'll be able to actually utilize even in some of this, you know, where they do these quick trend changes like that. Notice though that we diagnosed our chart perfectly though. Okay, we don't care about this P&L. I'm trying to show y'all how to trade Viper. But notice how you had a high here, a low here, a lower high, but we did not know that was a lower high until it took out the low. Okay, so when it actually took this out right here, you don't have to take this trade for the breakout, although it works out quite often. But look at that retracement and look at that retracement. Okay, would that be a trade? Would that be a trade? And the answer is yes. Your identified swing is all the way up here. Okay, now you have over here you have a low, a high, a higher low, and a little higher high, but it never took out the left one. So that's actually a little phantom trade. Notice how our software caught that. Okay, notice our background didn't ever change. Our midband didn't change. This is actually, by the way, this looks like this is gonna, it's taking out resistance. I'd probably box this in actually. You want to try it? I'm going to reverse it right there at midband. I'm going to be very careful with it because I just boxed it in. You know, I did it with my eyes though instead. See this little box? And it closed above it. So I just simply hit market order. Okay. Let's see if it works. And you ask on this, by the way, why do we do that? Because look to the left to trade the right. Notice you had thrust down, retrace, thrust down, retrace, thrust down. This was actually your swing right here that they were testing from this down move. Not the larger one, but the little more micro. And when they get around that midband and take out a swing like that, that's not a bad little area to grab that. Okay. Now, what if you missed this trade entirely? Anybody? You know where to get into this trade next? Because we'll be able to show it live and you'll see it. You'll see how we draw our lines in the room. Absolutely a pullback, right? So let's just pretend you're not even in it. Let's just kill it. And I see a little consolidation patch right now. You know, like so, see your little lightning, thrust, retrace, but it's not identified yet. Right here, it's only identified when it takes out the top. I'm going to have to speed this up. It looks like I got it going like 30 times. Let's see if we can get a little pullback. See how stealth turned green also? Another reason that you took this too is because it was breaking resistance. See these resistance? You know, when they break through support and then pop back up through resistance, isn't that a pretty good area to look for changes too? Notice that we're still with a red background and everything, but the reason we did this is because they literally took out our resistance area. Classic NASI. I know, I see that time and time again, and then they go right back in that range. But she'll finally break out one way or the other. Anybody see another trade setting up on this chart? Because you should be able to see it. Draw your line and you'll see it. It busted up above right there. Do you think this could very possibly be another area that they'll come back and kiss? They broke out of it. That was resistance. Now it's support. They're running away. We're flat. Let's see if we can get in it again. Also watch stealth. Stealth will follow these prices. Could you be ready for this trade? Absolutely. You want to try it? Let's see. Yellow bar, is that trap trader? Bill, on your question, yellow bar is actually, you know, normally when we get a yellow bar, we're boxing it in, okay? Which this one actually took out our little swing across here. So we actually boxed it in even for the long side. Now we could have boxed it in for the short too, but it never took the short anyway. You know, because what I like to personally do is watch this little lightning like this, little thrust retrace, and then box it in around mid-band just like Charles does. So he basically box it like that. And if you didn't want to be faked in, you can bring your short all the way down under here because that's your lightning swing. But at the time this breaks out, then you could go ahead and bring it here because this is now your new lightning swing because, see, they did a thrust, retrace, thrust, and that's your lightning swing based on this right here, lightning one, okay? There's four trends on your chart. Now see our background and everything has confirmed. Look at that. That came right where I said it would. I'm going to go ahead and just, for the fun of it, fire it. It came where I wanted it. I missed it a little bit. Everybody see how I saw where that was coming to? Look how it came into stealth also. Okay, but what if you missed this trade? Where do you think the next trade is? And using our tools and everything. Well, let's diagnose the chart and see if we can figure it out, okay? Let's look. If we get a thrust up above this 57 area, okay, we've got support at 53.50, let's say 53.50. If they break up above here, this is resistance right here where my cursor's at. Now, does anybody have a question so far on identified swings? Because I get that question a lot, and if you can really tell what a true identified swing is, you just mastered the art of seeing where the swing is. See this high, this low? Hadn't closed above it yet. It's getting ready to. That's your identified swing. Everybody see that? Now, we've designed some tools in here that you can actually get out of the trade early. Let me show you how to do it because I call this in the room quite often. We have resistance right up here at 61, don't we? All right. If this was to decide to change this from green to red, couldn't we get out of the trade? Right? Rather than leaving our stop all the way down here. Because this is on the left side of the chart. What if this comes up and kisses resistance and then does a little A, B break? You could get out of the trade and then wait for another, like a mid-band trade, right? Okay. So what I like to personally do with our tools, we have one called lightning power meter is what it's called. So if you put it on your chart, this will basically get you out of the trade. If I've got long 2, shorting 3 will only get rid of the 2, which is what I want. Okay. Now, if I wanted to ride this thing for a gusto, I could also just do this and take one off. See how it's just hit my resistance perfectly? We had our lines drawn on our chart. It has not taken out that top yet. So what do? They normally come up and kiss resistance. And let's just go ahead and take out one, and we'll keep one in. If this breaks our lightning, you'll see it change to red if it breaks lightning. If that closes, it should fire lightning to the red side. Everybody see that? You've got a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, close the bar down. If it takes out that swing right there with close of the bar, this will turn red. And if it doesn't, it was too close to the top. Let's just see if it'll get it. Now, everybody see where our next trade is? Draw on your charts. Notice that they tested right down here where we drew our line, okay? That's actually our support right here at this little swing. Notice that mid-band is right here perfectly, like so. And we're looking for basically like a predictor to show up. Let's see if we can get a predictor. Notice that we changed our predictors from green and blue, and we were white and magenta when it was short, okay? But it's no longer short, is it? That's why we box in around these mid-bands, by the way. Let's see if we can. There's our predictor right there, isn't it? If it turns red, we'll take off one. There's red, we're in one. Not quite down to my support yet. That's getting there. I'm going to go ahead and buy one. And I'm going to go ahead and add if lightning turns green. Now see, we have a high, a low, a higher high. Came perfectly to mid-band. Our stop's just right underneath the predictor for now. Okay, and if that turned green, we just added two more. Everybody see how that works? Now, with that same analogy in mind, where's your next trade on this chart? If you missed this one. Because you should be able to see where your next trade is on your chart, at least an area. I'm going to show you where it's at before it ever gets there. If it breaks up, it's going to pull back and kiss. Watch and see if it doesn't do it. Let's just kill it and let's see if we can get that trade. That was awful close. I bet that was it, as a matter of fact. See, it came within 3 ticks of my line. Now, I didn't want that short just then, so let's kill that. All right, because I left that on. Everybody see that? Now, this has done a pretty good little thrust up. Where's your next trade on this chart? Well, it's going to have to break, isn't it? Let me show you. Let's slow this down a little bit. Let's see where it's going to do it. Or you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high. This would be your swing that they'd have to break to actually take lightning down. And we always like to look at yellow bars like this. So if this actually breaks this, you could actually be looking at a short, okay? If it breaks back to the upside, you'd pretty much have to start stair-stepping back up, okay? Now, a safer way to do this is wait for the break, which it's doing, okay? We're going to try to do a little phantom trade first. Let's look to the left. Phantom's right in through here. And I'll go ahead and do a quick phantom trade. Because what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to thrust down below support and then bounce below support and bounce off of support. That's a little phantom trade setting up right before our eyes. I'll go ahead and turn on bar close. The reason for that is because I'm trying to get that phantom trade. Now keep in mind a phantom can actually be a trend change, okay? Because basically you can see that you're still stair-stepping up on your phantom. So this is actually first time into phantom after a trend change. So that's an 85% probability trade that I'm looking at there, okay? And I wouldn't try to go any higher than resistance, because that's where resistance is that it broke down. Because this looks like this could be a trend change, because you did get a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. So we could very well be changing trends. We'll see if we can get that trade. And by the way, if it does get up there, I'm going to go ahead and put my stop. And we got 12 ticks. I'll risk 12 on 2. That's 120. That's a perfect phantom right there, right off of the phantom itself. I'll go ahead and put my stop here now. Exit on the bar. Okay. Now, like I said, keep in mind that phantom trades can definitely be trend changes too. Okay. But until they decide to turn this background red and change that midband and everything, you're still looking to try to take those longs. But if they break support, then put your target at resistance, a couple of ticks under it as far as that goes. See if you can get it. I'm going to tighten that stop even a little bit more. See, I'm just risking 4 ticks that way. Now, looking to the left to trade the right, you have on the left side, and there we got our target, you have a high, a low, and a much higher high. Okay, but on this side, you have a high, a low, a lower high, and it broke. So this is your actual truly identified lightning swing, right? Right now, anyway. Okay, so which type of trade are we looking for now with this red stealth and everything? Well, we're coming back to resistance. So let's see if we get any kind of a rollover. That light, oh, it is kind of screwy over there, isn't it? I don't know what happened there. Let me kill it. I'm not sure exactly. It might be, I don't know. I have to look at it. Now, if you want a really, really safe trade, wait for the actual break if it's going to happen. You know, for instance, we're talking about a little bit of a risky trade, but if you were to take this trade, let's say, for instance, that it comes back and kisses right here. I wouldn't take it until it does. Okay, it is at stealth. It could roll over, right? It very well might roll over. It looks like it is rolling over. What if you miss that trade? You want to try it again? That's going to give us another chance, it looks like. What do you think? Hurry, got to make a decision. Otherwise, what do you got to do? Wait for a break and a pullback. Where would your break and pullback be? Well, it already broke here and pulled back to here, didn't it? So that's actually, it didn't quite get there. I like it when it gets to the line itself, but it didn't get there. You know, if you do this one, I'd probably do something like this with a pretty tight stop, like around mid-band, and then only add if it decides to go ahead and break down. See what I mean? And not let it really close above, too much above support like that. We're risking 9 ticks right there. Okay, because we got in late. But keep in mind that it also went into stealth. See the stealth line? It went into it and it closed below it. So I don't mind that trade too much, but I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. Why do you have 2 stop lines on your strategy? That's the beauty of our scripts there, Mary. This is actually a stop that is called exit on close. That means that this could wick that stop, even go above it and then roll down below it and never close at your broker. This is actually your stop that's at your broker in case you lose connectivity. But this is your stop but it's just a line on the chart. What happens is, let me show you. When you put a stop like this with exit on close, notice your stop's at 62.7150 with your broker. That's right up here. But this line will also stop it out if it closes above it. See that? Now we got another stealth, by the way. So we could actually add some more to this. But what's a smarter way to trade this? Anybody? Let's get our target out of the way since I was talking. But does everybody see the next trade on this chart if it breaks and pulls back? See, the beauty of it is, let's just pretend you're not even in a trade. You've got support right here, right? So if you miss a trade, you'll see us do this time and time again in the room, because so far, looking to the left to trade the right, this is only breaking down under here. And it could bounce off a phantom and, still head up, right? But you're also, on this side of the chart, you are stepping down, okay? And you're always looking for that 1, 2, 3. And then, by the way, you can even get ready to actually take like your trend line trades or your break and pull back, okay? So let's say that you're not in this trade at all. I'd be looking for a thrust down and a retrace, wouldn't you? Absolutely, right? So let's see. It looks like it's getting ready to change our background to red too. I know that because of the algorithms in it, but anyway, we'll watch it. So you got your red background. I knew we would. Okay. Breaks down. Okay. Now where's your next trade on this chart? Close enough to that line. Everybody see that? See how easy that is to do? I did that without even a predictor because I saw it break support and I waited for it to kiss resistance. Now, it may do it several times. Matter of fact, you could even, well, we just hit it. Let's just add one. Just add one. Okay, it's kissing a little higher than resistance, but our predictor is actually saying right here is where it should roll over. See it? Right there? Okay, and there you go. You got your rollover. So sometimes they do go a little bit above, and that's okay, because notice how it thrust down below it and came back and kissed it. But our predictor actually picked where it was supposed to go, to the tick, actually, within one tick. Okay? Now, what if you missed this trade? Anybody? What are you looking for? Right now, it's going sideways. What are you looking for? Anybody? Well, we're obviously heading down, right? See, it just kissed my line again. We haven't had a mid-band trade yet. Thrust retrace. This is our identified swing right across here, right now. Right across this area right here. A little bit lower. Right here it is, actually. Got a power meter that's green, right? Let's just kill it and let's just see if we can get a trade. There's mid-band, which we like to get. See, that's actually mid-band trade right there. I missed it a little bit. There's even adding more to it because I just did power meter. Okay? By the way, just to show you real quick, and I've got this going pretty quick right now, but notice if you would have boxed this in right here. See, this came to mid-band. And I'm pretty sure we called that trade in the room on Friday, but the market wasn't quite open just yet. So where do you think the next trade is on this chart? Same type of trade, right? Thrust and retrace. Let's see if we can get it. We like to get around mid-band trades. This is not at the open yet, so let's see if we can get something. I'll kill it. Okay, we have resistance right here on the left of the chart. We've got resistance at mid-band. Mid-band's always a good resistance area, by the way, because that's really analyzing that price action. So it's now 8:23 in the morning. So what's your decision, everyone? What do you want to trade? A box in trade, right? At the open of the market. So let's see if we can get it. TF was good too, wasn't it? There's your predictor right there, saying we should come up to it. Breaking down a little bit. That's right before the open. There you go. See it? See it right there? Came to mid-band and rolled over. I had that going like 150 times, so we missed it. But see where it came to? Right to mid-band. Our predictor, if you would have been in the room on Friday and boxed this in, see the up bar, down bar? Couldn't you have boxed it in just like this? Just like that right there. And the moment that bar closed below that little swing, this is where we had this boxed in the room on Friday. And it fired the trade, didn't it? So did that turn out to be a good little trade? And the answer is more than absolutely, right? But what if you missed this trade entirely? Well, you have to get back into the resistance area then, aren't you? Watch stealth, and we'll see if we can grab it again. This is our little sweet spot right here. Pardon me. Everybody see why that's my sweet spot? It broke resistance, which was broke support, which is now resistance. So I got my little sweet spot drawn on my chart, right? Now notice I'm flat. We're not caring about that. You know, we hit our targets and everything. But does everybody see the next trade on this chart in real time? And you can do that. Because we're looking for a thrust, right? And a pullback. Let's see if we can get one. And by the way, if it breaks these support areas, then you got to look back again like this. See your stealth line? Let's see if we can get this trade. I'll try it. Got to at least come back to that 5609 area. And I'd like for it to come up here, but I don't think it's going to now. But we'll see. That's stealth right there. Come on, touch 56. I dare you. I'm going to go ahead and take it. It just went back through stealth. Now, I put a fairly tight stop on that because this is in a thrust. But keep in mind, I tried to go ahead and get back to resistance. And when these things are moving like they are, see how it touches stealth, So that turned out to be a decent trade, didn't it? Just simply by drawing on your chart. Everybody see that? It's definitely a pretty good way to trade, everyone. Now, if you miss this all the way down here like this, where would be your next trade on this chart? We'd have to wait for some kind of a pullback again, right? Okay, let's see if we can figure it out. Using our tools. That's your lightning swing right there. It shouldn't take it out. If it does, we may get a mid-band, and this is your actual identified lightning swing right here. Secondary, this is your primary. Okay, see that going into stealth again? Oh, look at that, going right into a predictor. What do you think? That's right into a predictor. Do you think that's okay? Well, if you did that one after a thrust like that, you would have to put your stop above that 55.62. Everybody see that? Because that's where your actual identified swing is. Now keep in mind, this is actually a little bit of chasing this trade to show you how you can still see, where to get in a trade if you just simply wait for the little retracement. Now don't chase a trade when it thrusts. Wait for the little retracement. They don't always have to be huge, but they do have to be a retracement. Okay, let's say that we had just opened the room, because I see a trade setting up, and you weren't in anything yet. Does everybody see that you can box this in? Region, You're looking for shorts because your identified swing is right up here. Couldn't you take that trade if it takes out that little box right there? That's your box. Lightning will also change to red. Should. And if we start breaking up, guess what? We'll look the other direction. But this is still a downtrend. I mean, this is a huge downtrend. See, you're stair-stepping. You know, I always like to look at secondary swings also. There you go. You just got it. Usually like to drag a target out of the way and let one or two even hit at the support level. Okay. Now this has been going down quite a ways. Do you also draw on your charts and know about where to get in if it changes its mind? Because this thing, we got a monster move on NQ on Friday and we called it and everything. But if you draw on your charts, you'll be able to actually see when they change trends too. You know, and what you're looking for when they do change trends is you're looking for those ABCs, no rollover, but continuation up and then coming back in and kissing your support area. Okay, everybody see that trade's just beautifully to the downside? But what if you missed it? Again, you want to try it? You want to see if everybody can get this? Let's see where it has not kissed yet. Okay, it came up here, but it went a little higher, so it hasn't come up here to kiss yet. It hasn't come up here to kiss yet. Okay. So if you weren't in this trade, could you actually wait for a kiss pullback? Let's see. I drew the lines ahead of time, so let's see if it does it. This is my sweet spot right here. I've got it on close, so if that closes outside this little box, it'll fire the trade. Go, you just got it. Everybody see how I drew on that chart to see where that trade was? So looking at this chart, can you see where basically your next trade will even be, just by what I taught just now? You've always got to check your identified swing. Let's go ahead and kill the trade. Let's check. Let's just get this out of the way for a minute. Let's see what we got. Our identified swing is all the way up here right now on our longer, see your thrust, retrace thrust. Over here on this side, though, you have a low, high, higher low, but not a higher high. See on the right here? So we're waiting for what kind of a retrace on this little trade? What says the team? The Lion King, huh? Well, that's one thing about it, that you can really see these trades, you know, in real time if you just do. See, it just came to that line right there. Now I'd put a pretty tight stop just in case. See how it came to my resistance area? First one came up here. See, which was, well, this swing right here, as a matter of fact. Then you look to the left, trade to right, that's your swing. And we don't really want them to take out, let's see, you have a low, a high, a higher low. And then if they even take this out, I'd probably be out of that trade because this could be bottoming out a little bit for a little bit of a up move. But so far it's not. What are the meanings of the magenta and white oval circles, Mary? Those are called predictors. And those are really good. You want to see how well it works? Let's just say we're not even in a trade at all. All right, let's just watch for a predictor. I'm going to go ahead and go about 10 times or so this will at least do its thing. Now keep in mind we were already in a trade, but I want to show you how to trade a predictor if we can get one. There's a predictor coming up, isn't it? Well, look to the left to trade the right and see where predictor says. And I would say right there at that swing. See the predictor saying that swing? So let's just see if we can get it. Missed it so far. Looks like it's going to miss that one. Maybe not. Maybe not. Got a higher low. We'll just trade the predictor only. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe. Just not going high enough yet. Now there's another predictor. See, this one formed now, so this predictor's off the table. Unless you want to just go ahead and try it, because that is resistance. You want to try it? But this is where the same predictor is now. See predictor there? Now looking to the left to trade the right, your swing is right here where it took that out. So that would be a good little predictor trade. Now keep in mind that's an aggressive way to trade it. There's a less aggressive way to trade it, which I'll show you. And that's waiting for that box. Okay, see where your box is right now? Let's just kill this trade for a minute because I'm going to get the box instead. And if it gives me a higher box, I'll take it even. So far, it's not. Looks like it's going to give us that box. Okay? Everybody see that? Now, be careful if they do this, like if you do a little bit larger box like that, you've almost got to give them a little bit more wiggle room than just saying if it pops out of the box and back in it. But keep in mind, if this is going to really head down, this bar should actually close down too. And it did. Everybody see that box? Now notice that was even a better way to trade that. But let me show you another way to trade this too that I think you might like. Let's just say that this is a swing right here. Let's kill the trade. Show you another tool we've got. Wedge trade. Let's just say that we want to even take it right there. See that little swing, you know, where it thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. This is a little bit more of a breakout trade, but let's try it. See, if I put a ray on the chart with wedge, that actually 2 ticks and it took the trade. See there? So that's a little wedge trade. Okay. Now I'd have to put my stop above the swing, right? And then as soon as it makes other swings, I'd put my stop there, right? Okay. Now, judging by just what I just taught, where's the next trade on the chart? Anybody? Well, if you break support, it's resistance, right? So if you were looking in the afternoon and you saw this happening before your eyes right now, is that a little support area right across there? If they break it a little bit, could that be an area that you could go ahead and jump back in the trade? And the answer is what, everyone? Watch and see if it doesn't do just what we said. Now, if it quits and it starts taking lightning out to the upside, keep in mind that we could even change trends. But so far, we're looking at a definite downtrend, right? Okay, so let's say that you walked in your room at 8:45 and you said, you know what, I think I'm going to take a trade. Okay, you want to take a trade, and let's say that you've got your line drawn on your chart. All right, where do you think this next trade is? Anyone? I think it's already happened actually, because it came out of it, pulled back into it. But you do have another one right here. I'll draw 2 lines. And let's just watch and see if we can get a trade. Since we're not thrust traders, we're retrace traders, right? Let's see if we can get a little retrace trade. think I missed it. Missed it by a tick. Nope, gonna get it anyway. Maybe. Nope, missed it by a tick. Everybody see the line I drew there? That's the one thing that they do with their algorithms is they usually do them by a tick or so. Okay, but we're going to try to still get it if we can. Let's just see if we can. Come on. It's not going to touch it. Now this is a little bit too much breakout with this only being down here. So it's got to retrace for me. I've got to at least get up close to predictor. Okay. And if I don't get up close to predictor, then I really don't want this trade. Or at least in this little sweet spot right here. Like so. At least go into my line and roll over. There's resistance. And if it blows through it, keep in mind you'd want to get out of this trade fairly quick. Just hit my resistance area. Now this could be all she wrote. We'll find out. And I would probably, let's see here. This is actually breaking my secondary. I'm going to kill that trade. See that? Thrust, retrace, thrust. This is actually very possibly starting into a trend change because you have a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This is your identified swing secondary, and it took it out. So now what kind of a trade are we looking for? Anyone? A rollover again? Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get a trade. It looks like it's going to be to the downside, actually. It definitely does. Matter of fact, if you boxed it right here, you'd already be in it on that bar. But since we didn't get it there, let's see if we can get it elsewhere. High, low, low, high. We just got it. I just touched that. I probably should have closed that. Oh well, we took it on a touch. That's fine. Now, when you start getting blue bars and everything around mid-band, keep in mind that that's letting you have a heads up that they're more than likely going to change trends, possibly, later on. But, you still got to watch your identified swings. Let's just look at identified lightning 3. See, so far you have a low, a high, lower low down here. So this is actually your identified swing to the upside. So as long as they're in this range from here to here, we're still in a downtrend. And our software is still confirming that. Okay. And we may just go ahead and head down some more, and that's fine. But when they start doing this like this, keep in mind that you want to try to take some coin, like at these bottoms, to give an example. Okay, because it looks to me like you're getting range bound. You see this time and time again. If they take out the range, that's fine. Yeah, they're taking it out. That's good. Now, where would your stop be? Lightning swing. Like so. Okay. Let's see, just one sec. Everybody see how to use these Viper tools? By the way, we did a webinar on Tuesday, I think it was, where I showed how to use these lightning tools. Let's see, Adam's asking, any suggestions on how to wait for a box to form versus taking the trade right when it hits predictor? Well, yeah, you can actually use the box instead, okay? See how we made a little double bottom so far? Now, we held in the trade, but I'd still put my stop right in through here. Let's see if we take out these lows. Okay, now, where would we have to change on this chart to actually change trends? Anyone? By looking at this chart right now, let's kill this trade just for the fun of it. Let's get rid of lightning. Okay, we've got a lightning swing, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. Got like a lower here, but not very much lower. So this is what I consider to be my lightning swing that's identified. See, because you had a high, low, lower, low. So that is identified right here. Okay, at 49.75. So let's see if we continue heading down, and we'll still take our retracements, right? We'll still take our retracements to the downside, like with lightning. Now keep in mind that until this takes out your identified swing and actually starts changing the background, or at least takes out a swing so you know you're heading up. To give an example, like if this is through heading down, you should get a thrust. You should get some kind of a pullback with a higher low. You should then get some kind of a break. If we get that, we'll watch for it, but we don't have it yet. We're still heading down so far, but we are in retracement because our lightning is green. All right, so let's see. Where's our next trade on the chart? Just what I've been teaching. Let's see if we can figure it out. Let's see. Thrust, retrace, thrust. There's a swing here they haven't checked. There's a swing. Let's see. They checked here. They haven't checked here. See your a priori swing there? They haven't checked it. So if they don't take this out, could we actually look for another rollover trade? You want to try it and see? Now remember, you could have actually, if you boxed it in, you could have gotten you a quick long. We do that trade and try to get it, but also keep in mind that this is still a downtrend until it quits getting lower highs and lower lows. Everybody see that, right? Or even a double bottom. If you get a double bottom, you can usually tell they're going to change trends. All right, everybody see the box we could draw on this? Region, insert. I see support right here, so I'm going to give it a little bit more wiggle room, like so. And if it breaks support, we'll take it. We're not going to take it to the upside unless it bips up, pulls back and kisses, and then takes off, because we're still in a downtrend. Okay. Let's do a close. Just got it. Now it's closing back inside that box, but keep in mind the lightning on the left was way over here. Aggressive trader got in the trade on the smaller box, on the 1, 2, 3. This is actually your trade right here. See the lightning? Since we already got 3, we won't add, but I think you can clearly see that that's your lightning swing on the left. Let's see, from 1 to 10, which type of strategies are the best 3? Because it will be hard to use all of them. Well, Mary, on your question, I wouldn't try to use all the strategies. Matter of fact, Charles, to this day, that's been with me as my business partner for 9 years, he only, that I know of, uses that region. He doesn't actually do the lightnings and all the different things. I even like stealth. I like lightning. See how lightning changed to red? Couldn't you have taken the trade when it did? Right? And if this is going to head down, it should stay under our box because that's resistance now. Everybody see that? And that's the way you box that in. Also keep in mind that you could have done it this way too. See this little trend line across here? That's about the same trade if you use the wedge tool. But the main thing is what we've done is we've actually designed these tools so that a person can actually utilize these tools in real time. Draw on your charts. Keep in mind that your most important swings are the numbered swings. If you look at, for instance, on NQ, to give an example, I don't know why that did that right there, but I'll have to ask the programmer. See how that's just stair-stepping down so far? So if you were looking at this chart in real time, like right here, would you have a reason to go long yet? Because you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, you have a lower low. You have a lower high so far. We don't know if it's going to take this out, but then we can draw our lightning 1 or 2 and see there. That's still heading down, isn't it? Because you have a sequence of lower highs and lower lows. So what would it take to change this trend? Well, it would take a low, a high, a higher low, or even a double bottom, and then take this out, or even this out right here, and then you'd be changing trends to the other side if it happens. You want to just see, we won't even go to the real chart. Let's just see. I'll put this on 500 times, and you tell me if it does do that. Just hit a double bottom. I got this going 500 times, so we're not going to trade it. It's breaking up. See there? See how it comes and kisses on those pullbacks? Still going sideways. You got a trade right here. You could have easily taken boxing. Another bottom. See, it's still heading down so far. What would it take to change trends? If it was to decide to break up, let's see if it breaks. See there? It's trying to break. Coming back and kissing. Rolled over again. You're just totally sideways so far. Now that's pretty much a low, high, higher, low. Not quite a higher high just yet, but I'll bet you that breaks to the upside. We'll see. Now let's look at the actual chart and see what it's doing. Phantom trade. First time in after a trend change. Well, second time. There's your first one. There's your second one. Look at that. When did that actually start breaking to the upside? When it started taking out the previous highs that were identified, right? So when you saw this change in trends, you had a low, you had highs, you had higher lows. You know, this was pretty sideways. You started breaking here. So this is pretty much where you'd be looking at these phantoms here, these predictors here. I got this going way too fast to trade it. I can slow it down if you want to try to trade it. That's after we close the room. What do you think? You want to try to see if we can get a trade? Anyone? Anyone? Let's see. To insert region, Steve, on your question, well, what you do is you just simply hit the insert key. Okay, just hit the insert key. Let's see if we can get another trade just real quick, just with what I've taught. Okay, you have high, low, lower high. This is your support right here. This is also support. Looking to the left to trade the right here. So I'm looking at a sweet spot like this, and even mid-band, since we got a mid-band there. So that's pretty much my next trade. But anyway, the way you do a region on that, Steve, what you want to do is you want to engulf some candles. I'll show you how to do that. Let's just take region off. Just hit insert, and it goes away. And we'll just go ahead and do a region and see if we can get a trade. And what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to box it in, okay, with like a 1, 2, 3 reversal, at least. Or, well, to give an example, like right here, see where this candle went down, this candle went up. You know, you basically box it like that. You would have gotten that trade. We'll do it again and see if we get another one. This has definitely changed to the upside now. Everybody sees that, right? So let's see if we can get a little retrace. Right there. See your candle up, candle down. That's even resistance to the left there. Could you take that trade? Let's try it. Remember, the top of the box is the T button, and the B is the B button. The bottom button, sorry. Bottom of the region, top of the region. We're not looking for shorts. We're looking for longs. Okay? Everybody can see that, right? Because if we were looking for shorts, this is what we would want to see. We'd want to see it break support, come down and kiss phantom. Maybe we'd take the short if it does. but then you want a kiss of resistance and a rollover, okay, if it would do that. But see, we're actually bouncing off support so far. We haven't got our trade yet because we're waiting on the close of the bar. If you like touch, by the way, did you know you can change this in the middle of the deal? Well, it did close anyway, so that's okay. But you can change it in the middle of the before it ever closes. You can change it to a touch if you want to. Okay, so if you were trading right now, wouldn't that box have worked just beautifully? Now, we don't know how high it's going to go, so what I would do is get a target out of the way. I'd put one up at the top, fade it a little bit, and I'd probably put one at that predictor too. So that way you collect some coin first. Well, Bill, on your question, we like to actually look at the lightning and the support areas. You know, for instance, like this trade right now that we're in, I would probably go ahead looking to the left to trade the right. See that little swing right there? That should hold on a pullback. See, because they busted up above it, and they busted up above this one even. So you could actually easily bring your stop to right there with the close of a bar. Now, they may wick it, but they shouldn't take it out. See, because the way we designed this with this exit on close is if it touches my line, it will not fire that trade out. But if it closes below it, it will. Okay? So just by what we've taught, let me fast forward this and see if anybody can catch the next trade. Okay? We're way past when we closed our room, so obviously we weren't calling these trades, but let's just see if we can get. I'd bring my stop with lightning, just in case it double tops. And you could even turn on lightning 1 short to get rid of 1 if it happens to do the lightning to the downside. We may still keep heading up, and that's fine, but see what I'm doing? I'm actually trusting lightning, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. If lightning breaks, then I'm going to be out of that trade. Okay, because we don't know if this is going to double top. We don't know if it's going to shoot all the way up here, but we do know that lightning is doing the zigzag up so far. Okay, so let's see if we can stay in this or it's going to take us out. There you go, you're out. See the lightning right there. Okay, now just asking that same question that we did just a minute ago. Where would be your next trade on this chart? Well, let's see, they've already tested here, so they're not coming back to here. They've got a little swing right across here. Predictor's saying right here. I don't like that trade as much, simply because it's above mid-band. But keep in mind that if it doesn't come down to it, you won't get the trade anyway. So, you know, if you even turn predictor on, if it doesn't come down to that line, it won't fire the trade. We don't know if it will or not, but let's see. It did come down to it, close to it. Okay, notice that did actually get you a trade if you turn on predictor. But, oh, there we go. Whoop, we didn't want to short. Sorry about that. We left our PM on. Don't forget to turn stuff like that off and kill it quickly if it does. Predictor is right here. Midband is right here. See that box? Now, I've got this going fairly fast, so I did it by hand instead. But see how I was watching those bars? Down, down, up, break, took the trade. And it was like boxing it just exactly like this right here. Got you in on that bar. Now, can you think of any much better way to design scripts than to see these trades in real time? Because you can do it, right? We made these scripts where you can absolutely see it in real time. And if you do happen to jump into a trade, let's say, for instance, that You know, you come in the room and the thing's really moved. Okay. Like maybe you're thinking, wow, I just missed this trade. Why did I miss it? Well, then you got to wait for a little pullback. You want to see if you can get it? Let's just say you missed it. Breaks up above, right? Broke up above nicely, right? There it is. Right at support. See that? See why I waited for a retracement though? See how that works? Now, if that would have taken that out, obviously I probably wouldn't have given them 12 ticks. But notice how you can look for these trades in real time and see them simply because they'll thrust up, they'll pull back and kiss. And we talked about that trade before it ever happened. So where's your next trade on the chart just by what I said just now? Anybody? I mean, you're really thrusting up now. What do you think? You got to think quickly. Well, you don't have any swings to, this is too far down to me. I'd be probably looking to buy this thing if it came down and kissed that area right there. Wouldn't you? It looks like it might have already kissed the predictor. Yep, it did. Everybody see that? It's a pretty good way to trade, isn't it? And if you miss a trade, you got to wait for it to come, you know, either make a little trend line break, a little box. See, if you even were watching this in real time, now I had this going like 100 times, but do you see this little consolidation patch right here? That's not a bad trade to look for. See, because you had a high, you had a low, you had a higher high. You expected a higher low. So it gave you a higher low, right? And what's it doing now? It's trying to come on top of that and kiss it. And was that a trade? See there? That's a 10-tick trade. And just keep watching and see where's your support right now. Well, it's right here. If they come within like a tick or so of it, could this be another trade? And the answer is probably yes, right? See how it bounced right off my line? Let's just take it as a matter of fact. I'm going to take it. See it? It's higher low. Put my stop right underneath the swing. ABC. Boxed it in. You could have boxed in right here and you would have still stayed with the trade, or you could have taken 2 on it as far as that goes. But see how you got a high, a low, a higher low so far? So is this still an uptrend, everyone? Well, let's just turn it off and I'll speed it all the way up to 500 and you tell me when lightning 3 forms. See your higher low? It'll make it again. We're not going to trade it. I just want to show you how to see these. Man, that thing really moved on Friday, didn't it? See, we don't even have, it's not even pulling back far enough to give lightning 3. There you go, lightning 3 right there. Lightning 3. And I'm starting to run out of data, but let's just see if we can keep going. There's your lightning 3. Is that a little trade right there? I think so. See, it came down with higher low. Now I'm trying to do this with its super speed. We're going 500 times, so I had to really hit it quickly. I'm going to do it again right there, phantom. Now keep in mind, I'm trying to do this at 500 times, but see how it hit support? Took it out a little bit. Was that a trend change yet? No. Because, let me slow it down now. Does everybody see that this was not your identified swing? You had a high, you had a low, you had a lower high. They did take this out, but looking to the left to trade the right, they just barely took this out. And this is what they do a lot of times right here, is just barely take out support like that, and you get this little boxed area or even across here, and you can actually get that trade again, and lightning will change back, and you can get another monster trade. Okay? So just always look to the left to trade the right, use our tools and everything, and I think you'll find this will work out quite well for you. Does anybody have any questions? I know I ran this a lot longer than I thought I would. Let's see how to draw the boxes one more time, Mary. Sure. If anybody wants to leave, that'll be fine. I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute. But to draw the boxes, Mary, all you have to do is you just simply hit the insert key if it's on region. And also, let me show you a little book that we've designed for you. If you go to your email that we sent out for your invite a week ago, it's got a little ebook. And on that ebook, if you want to know how to do a region, you just simply go down to using regions and click on the little video. These are videos right here. You just click them. I did 71 videos to show people how to use Object Trader. Okay? But let's say, for instance, if you were wanting to do this little trade right here, you want to just see if we can get one more? And then we'll wrap. This is close to quitting time, so we might not have gotten it, but let's just see if we can get even a 10-tick trade for the fun of it. I'll do a trend line. We're just looking for long, and we'll just go for 10 ticks just for the fun of it. And I'll kick it up a little bit. And we don't want to close, we want to touch. Okay, we're in. Let's see if we get a little trade. By the way, you can even move this on the fly too, and even get more if you want. It's a pretty cool little tool. Doing a little bit more consolidating. I would have probably started with like one there. It went through our trend line again. We're good. We're okay. See, this wasn't an identified swing. I'm going to go ahead and put my stop just underneath that swing now, even at mid-band. See if we can get 10 ticks. See how you draw that box, Mary, on your question? It's real easy to draw. You just hit the insert key, and it pulls it right up on your chart. Okay? Everybody see how to pretty much trade that? If you want to go counter trend to the trade, you want to try to get like a 5-ticker if it breaks that trend line to the downside, with a touch, to give an example, and maybe just go for like 5 ticks. See, that's 6 ticks right there. That's a trend line break. That's what we call wedge. Can we get 5 ticks on this little retrace? Maybe. That's why we developed this little trend line. Because, for instance, if you were in this trade from down here, see how it's doing the little lightning dance up, but now it's breaking a trend line? Could you actually try to get 5 ticks? There you go. Just did. Okay? We just gave you a lot of tools, but you don't have to use them all. They're there for your use. I didn't get to show the ES. I apologize for that. I could go ahead and pull up an ES chart for Friday. And let me see what it looked like. I'll bet ES ran after we closed the room, but before that, I don't think it ran, did it? By the way, as slow as ES runs, you can actually utilize a little slower or a little faster on your dynamic trend. See, this was basically ES all morning while we were in the room. We were in the room from 8:30. Let's just say 8:30 right through here till 10 o'clock. That's your entire move on ES. So that's pretty much why we stay away from ES. It's up to a person if they want to trade it. I'd probably just draw lines on the chart. For instance, way back at 8:30, it had a swing across here. You could buy it. It comes back and kisses. You could purchase again. See where this popped up and pulled right back into the box. You could buy it right there. So, but that's not my idea of a lot of movement. Look at the difference in NQ. This is from 8:30 right in through here, all the way to here. So that's a lot more movement, guys and gals. That's a lot easier to make money on it. And you got to be careful with NQ because it can, it can whip around a little bit. But if you learn to see the trades in real time, you should be able to actually, make some very decent trades. draw boxes right around mid bands and stuff, and go for those little scalpers and things, even when it's sideways. And keep in mind that the best money is made about the first 30, 45 minutes in the morning. Okay, we'll do this on Monday, and we'll call trades in the room. Thanks everyone for coming. Sorry I ran an hour and 25 minutes. It can make you overtrade too, Havad. Absolutely, it can. But keep in mind that if you wait for the particular situation to show up, it won't even make you do that. See what I mean? Because right now you're already at 3 o'clock. So where's the NQ actually holding right now? So if this was in the morning, wouldn't you just box this in for an up move or even possibly for a down move? Because it's right around mid band. It's already through our data, so we won't get any more, but that's what I'd be doing. Okay, we'll see everybody Monday morning. Thanks for coming.